Hey, what's going on everybody? I'm Brandon, I'm a guy who flies. Welcome back to my channel. If you are returning, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to smash that subscribe button so that you can join our Fly fam. Today I'm here to share my 2020 flying recap. 2020 was a wild year, hence my cheetah print sweater I have on from, I believe this one is from Forever 21. Yeah. At first I was like, I didn't do much this year because I've been on leave the last 4 months, but in actuality, I did quite a bit of flying, so let's get into it.
I've been trying to make my wallet fold all day. Cashing in my dreams, big payout. Underneath my money tree, big shade out. Now these models
2020 was a big year of transition for me as a flight attendant. I only worked for the first 8 months of the year. In the last 4 months, I was on paid leave. During those first 8 months, though, I worked out of 3 of our crew bases. I lived in 4 different states. I was a commuter. I was on reserve. I was a line holder. A lot was happening. And so we're going to look at some of those memories over those 8 months that I did get to work. Starting out in January. In January, I was still Denver based. It was my last month actually being Denver based. I was on reserve in January. I worked a total of 10 flights as a reserve that month. I only flew 64 hours, however I got paid for 85. It was a slow month. If you all remember, January we were still just living life like it was normal. As far as we knew, you know, there was not going to be any major shakeups. Everyone was starting the year fresh. We all had all of these resolutions and expectations for the year, and boy would things actually change. This is actually day 5 of the reserve block. Did not get used any of the other days, and they called me at 6 a.m. this morning for a 10:10 report. But y'all, I'm ready to be done. This is my last trip as a Denver-based flight attendant. So we are back in Denver. We are done. Guess who I flew with, y'all? My classmate, Justin, along with some other
classmate.
And some random white guy.
He's great. So I just walked out of the airport, I don't know, 7 minutes ago. And it was just sleep. 8 minutes later, we got this going on. Y'all, I'm trying to leave Denver in a matter of 11 hours. This is not what I need right now. I transferred from our Denver base to our Philadelphia Trenton base at the end of January. So I started February being Philadelphia based, and I was on reserve for the month of February. In that month, I worked 17 flights. I flew a total of 80 hours that month as a reserve, but I got paid for 93 hours. So it was a very busy month as a reserve. I think I only actually had like 8 days off that month. Surprisingly, my very first day in base, they called me to work a trip. At the airport in Philly, new base, what's up? On my first day here, you all, crew skeleton just called me for a trip. I have never been called for a 4-day trip. It's literally 2:59 in the morning and I can't even get to a hotel room. Y'all, it's not all glamorous. We are in Miami and it is Super Bowl weekend. What's the saying? Viva Las Vegas? Good flight. You all, I am so fortunate to have like such great crews on this trip. So y'all, it is currently 9:17 p.m. and I have to get up at 6:30 in the morning. In my mind, that means that is enough time to do something. So I think I'm gonna hit the casino, see if I can turn $20 into $2,000. Part of me is happy I went out. Other part of me is like, you should have just stayed in because. So we are deadheading. Jerome and myself. He's back there.
Hi.
He's great. We're together these 4 days.
Hi, Brandon Vlogs.
Today is day 4. We are working 3 legs today. Orlando to Cincinnati, Cincinnati to Miami, and then the dreaded Miami to Philly tonight. Duty day is over. That flight was hell. Like, I literally had to go there with somebody. So there's a first time for everything, and today was my first time having to go there with a passenger. But it's all said and done. And then came March, and if you all remember the just timeline of the year, March is where things just really hit the fan and the country started shutting down like crazy. The flights were few and far in between. I only worked 10 flights as a reserve. I flew 74 hours and I got paid for 90. It was a very, very slow month. Like the number of passengers on the flights were just dwindling, and none of us actually knew exactly what was to come, but yeah, it got really bad. It's just a really, really strange time to be flying. Walking through this airport, not seeing people, not seeing restaurants and shops open, it is just low-key depressing. I'm trying to see the negative effects of like all of this, because this is like not a good time to be a flight attendant, because what's the point of having a layover when you're confined to being basically in your hotel room? Like, you can go outside and walk around and breathe fresh air, but the restaurants are closed, the shops are closed, the attractions are closed, recreational activities are closed, even like the gyms and stuff and the pools at the hotel are closed. It's going to be a lot of the same. We're going to take a shower, eat, sleep, wake up, breakfast, run, get ready for work. Tomorrow is go home day. Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. We are still in the midst of Women's History Month. Although we are dealing with a pandemic, let's not forget that we have other things to celebrate and be grateful for. I'm grateful for all the women in my life. What about you? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in Trenton. 3-day trip is over. And then in April, I would say for me, April was like almost like rock bottom. But in April, I only worked 4 flights. It was a total of 2 turns, and I sat couch a couple of times, and I think I flew about 20 hours for the whole month, and I got paid for 86. April was slow, real slow. And April was my last month being Philly based, because in April I transferred from our Philly base to our base in Miami, because at this point I was chasing a line. Good morning, everybody. It feels weird to be in uniform this month, because this is probably my company has now made it required for us to wear masks the whole time we are at work or performing work functions, as well as stipulations for how often we need to be washing our hands. Like, we have to now do this. So yeah, we're just gonna ride this wave out, collect these little hours, collect this coin, and then we're gonna take ourselves home and just enjoy the rest of our Sunday. So in May, I transferred to Miami, and this was my first time as a line holder. 24 flights, and they were literally all turns. And I flew a total of 78 hours, but I got paid for 117 hours. And that's when I was like, okay, here goes the money. May was also the year that we had gotten off of probation. So my 9 months of probation was over and done. I was on like cloud 9. Like, I was flying with a bunch of my classmates, and May was good. I mean, it was still the, just the beginning of the pandemic, but for me, in terms of aviation, it was a good month. So I know I said I wasn't working on Thursday, but a trip popped in there that had a late report, and me, y'all, I cut my hair off. I cut it all off. Say hey to Gabe.
Hello.
Gabe is a singing papa compared to me. And I'm flying again with your boy, Justin. And another one of my classmates, Brian, is up there. We are doing a quick Newark turn, because that's all we do on Mondays. We go to Newark. He gets around Miami.
The one with the Camaro.
This is the life I have to live, choosing to fly as a commuter during this whole pandemic situation, because in June, that is where things started to pick up. The stay-at-home orders were starting to get lifted. parts of the country were starting to slowly open. We were seeing like summer flying. I remember in June, I got the last line in Miami. I was the last line holder in Miami, and I ended up dropping most of my Miami trips, and I picked up a lot of trips out of base. I worked Chicago trip, I worked like 3 trips out of Denver, and in June I worked a total of 30 flights, 109 hours, but I got paid for 126. So June was very, very busy. Starting a 3-day trip, and I get to work with all the baddies today.
Hey.
My crew is always on point. I'm gonna start that hashtag. My crew on point. Currently on the way to where we going? They are not open for dining. We just called. One of my videos has finally reached 1,000 views. Like, it's a video from last week. I'll put it right here. We on probation. Period. They're all leaving.
You did all of that? Peace out.
Goodbye. Hell no.
We've been having a real fun time with Brandon. A real fun time. If you edit me out, I'm gonna be real mad.
I'm not, because this is really good. So you all so funny, I came to the airport and guess who I am with? Cassandra. I told you all about her. I will never, ever, 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 ever deliberately come on a trip without meal prepping. What do you all think? Breakfast or dinner?
You're so cute. Really, Brent?
Comment below and let me know. What do y'all order when y'all come to Denny's?
Pillows was trash, blanket was trash. I didn't sleep good. I'm gonna sleep in the car.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to edit today's video on the ride. It's a 3-hour ride. The busiest month of the year by far would have to have been July. I flew 31 flights. It was a total of 126 hours like in the air. And I got paid for 140 hours. The overtime in July was insane because we get overtime after 82 hours. So it was like insane that particular month. I worked a lot of the same trips, Miami to Denver, and then I would just work like turns out of Denver, and then the last day was the red eye, Denver back to Miami. And oh my God, I got tired of that trip, but it was worth it for the money. I am Miami based, but today I'm not in Miami. I am back in Denver because I picked up a 4-day trip out of Denver. I commuted to Denver last night, got a commuter room at a hotel. I'm currently eating my little sandwich, KFC, my fries, and watching all of this action on the gate. Air traffic control stopped all departures and arrivals, and we were literally sitting on the tarmac, but we could feel the plane like shift. Hey Siri, what time zone is Arizona in?
I don't understand. Hey Siri, what time zone is Arizona in?
Really? Definitely have a lot going on right now in Charter Central, but yeah, work to do. There's nothing like starting the day by being yelled at by somebody because they don't have an open seat beside them, which is totally out of my control. I woke up thinking it was go home day, pulled out my go home day commuting outfit. It's not go home day yet. And my new hack, since we're kind of sort of not getting ice on the planes anymore, since we're not doing service, is to take ice from the hotel. So now I take big old bags of ice from the hotels to have on the plane with me. So I stayed in this hotel, back in March. So I'm gonna go downstairs and have breakfast with some of the crew. It is much harder to get down this aisle when I can't see what my bag is getting caught on. July is also when the country saw its second spike in the COVID-19 cases, and so yeah, for August was like trash. So much so that I actually ended up going back on reserve in the month of August. And August, I want to say 2nd, was literally my last flight. Like I only worked one leg, Miami to Atlanta, and then they deadheaded me back Atlanta to Miami, and then I was literally on reserve for the rest of August and not called at all. So I had 2 flights in August, 26 hours, and that's because of recurrent, to be honest with you. My recurring training, but I got paid for a total of 80 hours that month. I sat down with you all and talked to you about like what was happening with my job, and I was like, yep, this is it, this is enough for me. I wanted to come and sit down and just, you know, provide a really comprehensive update on the state of aviation, what's happening with my life. There's a lot of stuff floating around right now, like what is going to happen. August 1st, we got our WARN notices, which was 60 days notice that come October 1, we could get furlough. I have opted to take the voluntary leave for 6 months. Why? Because of my backup plan. I have the paid leave in September. I'm going to take the paid leave for 6 months. And then we landed here where we are now. It's January 2021. I could have filmed this a long time ago, but let's look at, some highlights from the year. So of the 8 months that I worked a total of 135 flights. I was on 48 different routes across the United States, all over the place, except for, it seems like, the northern west coast region, that Washington, Oregon, not much over there once I left Denver. However, I tore the East Coast up. Between being based in Philly and being based in Miami, I worked the East Coast. I was in 35 different airports. I believe our airline flies to over 100 destinations, and I was in 35 of them, so yeah. The shortest flight that I worked this year was Salt Lake City to Las Vegas. That was only a 57-minute flight. And the longest flight that I worked this year was Atlanta to Las Vegas, and that was 4 hours and 28 minutes. My most worked route was Miami to Newark. My favorite layover would have to have been my Newark layover, when I had that one with the Turn Up crew, like back in, I want to say that was back in June. That was my by far favorite layover. I'm looking forward to 2021 and what it has to offer for me flying wise. I'm still out on paid leave for January. However, I return to the skies next month, February, you all. I will be back in the sky. I'm going back to work. So I'll be working for, hopefully, the last 11 months of this particular year. I'm excited. There's a couple of things on my flying bucket list. So I would love to fly to Virginia this particular year on my airline working. I am hoping to land me a Cancun layover. I was peeking at bid packets for other bases, and there are some 24-hour Cancun layovers, and I'm like, I need one of those. And then lastly, I would love this year to average around 100 hours per month. So I want to get up in the sky. I've been out of work and out of flying, so I'm going back, and I'm going back with a vengeance. Like, I'm ready to fly. Hoping and wishing that things remain positive. Y'all know I'm gonna bring y'all along for the ride. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. For those of you who are returning to the channel, Fly fam, I appreciate you all and everything you all do and bring to the channel. Be sure to comment below. Let me know if you remember any of these videos that I showed. Drop down below. Let me know what are some of your favorite cities across the country. Let me know what kind of layovers I should be looking to pick up this year. I'm Brandon. I'm a guy who flies, and I'll see you all the next time.
Day goes by.